Hey, what's going on, guys? You've been asking for a hiding spot video in Fragment for so long, so I figured I'd finally get around to doing it. I'm sorry that it took so long, but it is a very difficult video to record. This 11-minute video took about 7 hours to record just because Fragment is such a high volume area. There's so many people always landing there, and we had to clear out squads before we could actually look around the map. I've used just about every single one of these 25 plus hiding spots to get away from enemies, so I can vouch for them all working. There are some that are definitely better than others, and I'll point those out. Probably not 100% of the time you're going to be able to get away from squads by using this, but for the most part, as you can see in the background, they do work. So let's get right into number one. Now I am going to show a map with the location and as well as the picture of the building. That way you know which I'm talking about. So we're going to start in that top right hand corner on the left side. And as you can see in that building, if you wrap up the stairs and hop on top of this railing, there's a really crazy spot that you can get up to up here. Now this is probably not the best spot to try to take a fight, but if you need to heal up or if you're just trying to escape a team as a solo, waiting to get banners or something like that, this is a fantastic spot to wrap up and get into. In addition, on the other side, you can do the same thing. If you jump on top of that railing, you can get a running start and kind of wiggle your way up there, which is a little bit more difficult, but definitely pretty cool. And in the front of that building, if you are Pathfinder, you can zip up on top by those generators, which is a really crazy spot. In this video, I got away from 2 squads who were chasing me down, trying to kill me. So all in all, that building is very good, but let's get on to the one right behind it. So there's not a whole lot to talk about this building, but as you'll see in a second, if you run along the side of it, or I guess technically the back side of it, you can hop up on those generators, get up on the air vents, and you can actually get up to all 3 of these. Now this is a great spot if you're just trying to get away. It's a phenomenal spot if you're trying to get a heal off, because I can almost guarantee you that nobody's ever going to look up 2 vents to see if you're up there. I've never seen anybody up here before, and it's a spot that I actually use quite a bit. I would definitely recommend adding this to your playstyle. Now I'm going to make a little bit of a jump to the other building all the way down by the railway, and the reason that I'm doing this is because it is a very similar building structure. So I'm going to show you that you can get up on top of this like vending machines over here, whatever these are, and then I'm gonna let a clip play out. As you can see, it's great if you're trying to get an angle on that door, anyone who's coming out, but the door also functions as some blinders so that nobody can see you if they're coming up and wrapping out of that door, or even if they're just running past you. If they're coming up that ramp there, they won't be able to see you because of the door. So as you can see in this clip, I'm hiding there. The Octane runs right past me. Bangalore comes out and she doesn't see me, so I can get the kill on Bangalore. And then because Octane wasn't aware that I was there, he just jumped right down and I could also get the kill on him. But now let's go to the outside of that building, and as you can see, it's the exact same structure as the first one. So you can climb up on top of those 2, and I do have a drone view for you so that you can see what that actually looks like. This one is a little bit more dangerous just because it's facing out towards Capital City. So I wouldn't really recommend doing this unless you know the only fighting is in that building with you. And this is just a clip of me getting over to that other vent over there so that you can actually see that both of them are accessible. And I would actually recommend doing that second one just because I think it's a little bit better, a little more concealed. But now let's get into the next hiding spot. And now we're going to be talking about the building that's just above that one, or I guess behind it, depending on how you're looking at it. You can see it on the map there. And there are quite a few here. The first of which is these vending machines, which give you a pretty nice angle over the top of the doors if somebody's coming in at you. Also, if you're wearing a darker skin, people won't be able to see you well, especially if they're coming in because the door is blocking you. But this next one is one of my personal favorite hiding spots. If you climb up onto that island and the upstairs, you can actually hop up on top of the windowsill. As you can see, an entire squad runs past me. I wasn't abandoning my squad here. There were 2 squads, one pushing each of my teammates, and I didn't really have much of anything, so I just hid, which actually worked out pretty well because that's what I was trying to do for this video. Now, in this next one, you can see that on the opposite side of the room, you can get up on top of there. This one's not as useful in my opinion. Usually if people are climbing up that elevator shaft, they won't see you there. And this one isn't really a hiding spot, but I do like to hang out here behind these yellow poles up here because it does block the vision of anybody who's in front of you on that north side of Capital City. And this last one does work, I promise. I wasn't recording, but I had 2 squads having a firefight in the street and none of them saw me. So I promise it does work. I just was not recording at that moment. But this is a great spot if you hop up on that pipe in the corner there. Nobody's gonna see you, again, especially if you're wearing a darker skin. I have my vampire crypto skin on for this, so that's probably the darkest skin that he has. But now let's get into our next clip, which is gonna be that big square building right in the middle. And this was the clip that I played in the intro. If you go to that west side and then maneuver south a little bit, you can actually hop up on top of a little like awning by that sign. And this does work on the exact opposite side of this building. There is another sign there that functions like this, so you can get a hiding spot off on both of those areas. Now this is just a great all-in-all spot to heal up. Nobody can see you if they're pushing north because the sign completely covers your body, including your feet, as I'm sure you can see in that drone view. You just got to be wary if people are pushing from the south side, as you are completely open. Now let's talk about the only remaining big boy building though, and that was the one that used to be connected to construction all the way down in that bottom left of Fragment West. And there's not really too many hiding spots in here, which I was actually surprised about. I did a pretty thorough search through it, and all I could find is that you can jump up on top of these yellow shelves, which is actually pretty good because the wall kind of blocks you on the right. Just obviously be careful to watch on your left and the floor below you because people can definitely get a pretty good angle on you. Other than that, I don't think they'll really see you. And these are only on the 2nd and 4th floor, which is important to note. If you're on any floor other than that, there are no yellow shelves for you to hide on top of. But now let's go over to the bridge area and that destroyed building, which is really rich with a lot of hiding spots. You can obviously get up into the windows on the bridge, but everybody knows that, so I'm going to skip that one. If you run all the way down though, you can actually climb up onto this ledge here, which I assume used to be a window or a door or something from the fallen building. And you can get a pretty cheeky angle on anybody in that next building over. In addition, if you're hiding in those wires, especially if you're wearing a black skin, you definitely do blend in pretty well and people will very likely just run right past you. It's also important to note that people can't really see you from the other side. But now let's actually talk about the other side. And if you wiggle your way past that supply bin and hug the wall, definitely don't fall in. Be careful not to do that. But you are completely invisible from above, and unless somebody actually wraps all the way around that supply bin, they won't be able to see you, so you're almost completely invisible if you use the spot. Now let's talk about the inside of the building though, and again, just like the other buildings I talked about, you can get up on top of these vending machines from the back. I think that's the only way that you can climb up, and this does give you a pretty good view of the door. I've used this to escape squads a couple times, and in addition, you can jump back onto the concrete ledge, which is an even better spot in my opinion. I've been using this since the beginning of season 4 to get away from squads who are chasing me, and it never fails. I've never had anybody notice me even once. And the most ridiculous spot down here is actually if you jump off, and there is a way to do this without taking damage, but I haven't been able to figure out specifically how to do it, is to jump off and then fly back up to that little ledge with the pipes underneath the bridge, and I can 100% guarantee no one will ever see you here. This is the most ridiculous spot in East Fragment, or West Fragment, I guess, both of them. But now let's get on to the next set of buildings. Let's first talk about the bottom left building in Fragment East, which doesn't have a super amount of stuff, but it does have the one clip that I showed right at the beginning, and I've been using this since season 3. It has been here all this time, so if you haven't been using it, you've been missing out. But basically, if you go up to the 2nd floor, you can go over by those purple lights, climb up on top of those lockers or shelves or whatever the heck that they are, the light system, and you can also hide in the waste bins, which makes you even more disguised. They do not block shots though, so don't even try that. But this is one of my favorite spots. It's just so convenient, especially if you're trying to get away from somebody. But now let's talk about right outside that building, which I think is maybe one of the craziest spots. I don't know how practical this is to do during a fight, but you can climb up on top of the banner structure and get up on top of the yellow pipes, and then you can even get on top of the banner structure if you try hard enough. That is out of bounds though, so don't stay up there too long. This one is definitely easier to get with Pathfinder. I think if you were playing him, this is a very doable hiding spot if you're in the middle of a fight. But for the rest of the legends, I think it's better as a sniping position if you're trying to get some angles on people that you wouldn't be able to get previously. But let's get on to some of the outside terrain.
Rat Supreme. Some Biggie cheese spot.
Now you can actually wiggle your way underneath the railway if you get all the way to the left and then kind of wiggle your way into the right. This spot is absolutely insane. I don't even know how it would be practical, but I can't imagine anybody ever looking for you underneath this thing, or if they did, I don't think they would be able to find their way underneath unless they knew specifically how to do it. So all around, this is just a fantastic spot, definitely one that's worth practicing so that you can get it down. But now let's move over to the other building in Fragment East, the one that's across from the one that we were talking about previously. And just like the very first hiding spot that we talked about, you can get up on the railing, except this one gives you full building access. As you can see, the boys and I took an adventure and we walked around the entire building in this spot like this. Definitely the back side of the building is probably the best because it points you out towards like hills and grassland and away from the fighting of Capital City. So if you can maneuver around there, I think you're probably doing a favor for yourself. But now let's get into our final couple and also our bonus tip. So as you can see, we are talking about that top left building in Fragment West. And if you come out, climb on top of this divider wall, you can get up on top of this vent here, which is a really cool spot because as you'll see when I do it with the drone, anybody who's coming out of the building will not be able to see you because you're about twice as high as their eye line. So you'll be completely out of screen for them. They'll have no way of knowing you're up there unless they spot you by complete accident. But now let's talk about our bonus tip, which as you can see right now, you climb on top of that divider up onto the first vent, and then over to the second vent, you can actually climb up the building very, very quickly and almost completely silently. This is an awesome way to scale this building. I actually never even knew that you could do this up until I was recording this video, and I actually already have a video talking about how to climb all different kinds of buildings, and I never knew this. Those are my hiding spots in Fragment / Capital City, whatever you call it now. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. I post every single day, so if you enjoy the kind of content that you just saw, subscribe and support the channel, join the community, and I'll be back with you guys again tomorrow. But until then, take it easy.